Good evening, Crime Crunchies. Thank you so much for joining me here tonight. My name is Courtney C. I am your host, a 27-year veteran. Look at me not even getting my intro wrong because I am Twitter-pated tonight because I have a very, very special guest that will be coming on with us. You know him as Alex from Criminal Network. He is one of our Tucson fellows who has actually he's like done the most. He has really put himself out there and maybe been arrested a time or two. We're going to get all of the deets from him. I'm going to be bringing him to the stage right now. Let's everybody welcome Criminal Network Alex.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for the invite.
Oh my gosh, we are so honored to look at you. You know something? I want to be the Johnny Carson of YouTube, and I
love Johnny Carson.
I can't believe when you said you'd come on, Alex. Seriously.
Oh man, we only got to talk for not very long, but I kind of catch your lives once in a while. That's why I kind of scroll you on my page too. Yeah. Is because I just love your content and I like your humor. Wow. How you just sing out of that's how I am. Like you just want to sing out of nowhere. You say weird stuff and weird sounds out of nowhere.
I know it runs some people off, but I'm going to be putting your YouTube link because I want everybody to please in the description. You should have Criminal Network's channel. If you have not gone to it, you have to subscribe. Look at him waving. Well, I just want to kind of get to know Alex. So can you tell me how long you've lived in Tucson, kind of what your life has been like in general?
Yeah, pretty much I moved here from California about August of last year, and I had been wanting to move here for a while because my children live out here. So I would come and visit them all the time, and it was just, I guess a lot of people, it just gets old in California, just as far as it gets expensive, and I'll never be able to own soil over there, and I wanted to be closer to my kids. So I moved out here to Tucson, and then 4 or 5 months later, the Nancy thing happened. So
I was going to ask, did you have a channel when that happened already?
Yeah, I had a channel. I just wasn't doing anything live. Like, so I was following like the Delphi case, the JonBenet case. So I do just, little edit videos once in a while, but I never had done the live thing.
So how did you get into true crime? It sounds like you were already a sleuther.
Yeah, I started with the JonBenet case probably about, 12, 13 years ago. And just deep diving and learning how to, find different stuff. I think I've released like 3 different theories. I debunked my first 2 myself. And then, so I'm still stuck on someone for that case. And then I followed did you follow the Delphi case at all?
Yes,
Abby
I
and
did.
Libby?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, what from the outside looking in, did Richard Allen do it?
My opinion is that it's very probable he did not. And I don't know that I would have found him guilty. I think there was enough reasonable doubt. I think the jury got that wrong.
He wasn't able to present a defense.
Correct.
At all.
Yeah.
In other words, he was the only person that they were able to say was there. So of course the jury was, it was also a sequestered jury.
Yeah.
In a town of 3,000. Make sense. It's weird.
No, and you know what? I'd love to have you come back and talk about JonBenet and Delphi as well, because those are things
anytime.
that
those are the other 2 cases I love. So, and I know a lot about, at least.
So, what made you decide to do a YouTube channel?
Well, because I'm a like retired musician, so I'd always have my music videos up, and then I just kind of started doing true crime mixed in with it, and then now I kind of just moved away from the music side and just rolling with the true crime and independent journalists. It's awesome. It's fun. It's rewarding. I got to meet a lot of cool people.
Well, and so I had a channel a year ago, and it was Nancy who finally I figured out what flow I was going to do, and I just jumped in. And so is that kind of what you did with the lives?
Yeah, like there's exactly, and it's almost like when people ever ask for advice, I'm not saying you, but other people they're like, it doesn't have to be about one thing. Like really, it's your channel. It's people who gravitate to me and people who gravitate to you, and what the content is that you put out. So really, you could have a cooking and and true crime. There's no rules in it, and I think that's what makes it kind of liberating for all of
So,
us.
being
Yeah.
new to Tucson, at what point did you drive to Nancy's house? And
Yeah, it was the second day. Yeah, because I had my watching it on the news, and I was on and off work at the time, and I had my car still. So, I just showed up that second day, and which was actually the third, it was Tuesday that I went. So, which actually was the second or third day. But
yeah,
anyway,
yeah,
so
in
I
there.
parked and I walked all the way down the road. There's nothing. I'm talking from way up to the top, Escalante, to the bottom was nothing but media vehicles. Not one cop was on the street. So I would stop at as I'm walking, I was asking each media outlet, if they had a little setup. And I'm like, hey, do you know if there was any search setup that I could donate my time to, something to help
Wow.
or, because I was local. And they all looked at me like I was nuts. So I started that day. I went right. That's right when I went behind the other houses, where there is a wash that you could walk through, which is behind the pool house or the top of the hill house, the court that Sue Ellen lives on.
Mhm.
And then just been searching, and being I wasn't live, I was just taking pictures, and I still have them. And I think I put them on a couple of the videos. But you know how they were finding clothes and gloves? I found all of that. I'm talking about it was like too much, and it all got cleaned up later, just like at the golf course. I don't know if you saw that, but there was a lot of people living on the golf course when I first went out there. But maybe 2 months in, they cleared everything out. You know what I mean? But like I had pictures of clothing. Like we didn't know what Nancy was wearing, so I was just taking pictures. There was like a black thing. There was gloves, all that stuff. But there was no point in calling it in because they didn't even really take it seriously already. Well, I mean, not that they didn't take it seriously, but they didn't take like they had answers already, and that they don't need to come out there and look at anything, which was strange.
So you just had your iPhone, you were taking pictures, and then you see the media, and then does it click in your head? You're like, oh, I need to go live. And then did you get equipment? What did you do?
So really, I was JLR, and I have like I followed him for a while, and like even
Okay.
though we think different on set, because we all have our own opinions. I just met him there at Nancy's and started talking, and I just kind of he was just schooling me, and like when we were off camera, he was just telling me, just giving me what I could do to increase my channel and to go live. And then uh, a good friend of mine, we call him PG, phone guy. He knows that like the reason he reached out to me, he bought me a brand new phone. It was like a $1,400 phone, case, everything. I don't even know his name. You know what I mean? His full name. But he did that to me because he saw and what he told me was, he goes, when I saw that you crashed your car, he's like, you didn't even complain, and it's true. Like, in other words, not only was it my fault, but at the same time, it's nobody else's problem that they
Yeah.
caused. So, and I just respected that. He's and I'm still in touch with him to this day, but he's a really good guy. So that got my live going. So he got my phone, and I was able to start doing
Wow.
live, and I took notes from JLR and from Mark the Shark and from Jacob, Dad's Gone Live, just all the people I were able to meet out there. And I just saw that there was no structure and all that, because you see the trolls. It's like, here we're all on this YouTube platform battling each other. It makes no sense to me. So that's why I kind of wanted to just kind of help build that unity there, and it just kind of came together.
So I have not spoken with Damien in person, but I heard he may have been one of the first YouTubers on site. Is that true?
Yes,
Okay.
100%. He was there he was like there that next day, boots on the ground, because he was the one that was able to tell us that when they said that they had the tracking dogs out there, it was one tracking dog. So there wasn't dogs. There wasn't any, cadaver dogs, anything.
Yeah.
It was just one tracking dog. That's it. And they left the shirt there, remember?
Yep. Oh yeah. So then you start. So you had been following JLR, but you
Yeah.
you
And
went up
Damien.
And Damien.
Only
Okay.
because I had moved here, and that was like I was already kind of because he had like police scanner stuff, so I was already kind of watching that too.
I was wondering about that.
But see, JLR didn't show up till I think Friday of that
Okay.
week is when he came. So that's what it was. I met him a few days later and stuff, but I had already met Damien, and he was cool dude to this day. Selfless, good guy.
Well, you are too. And that's the
I
thing,
try.
it's
Yeah.
you're a big teddy bear, and you're a gentle giant. So, JLR is cool. He took you under his wing, Mark the Shark. You guys kind of all bonded at that point as far as
Yeah.
friendship bros, right?
Definitely. And we're all into the same things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there shouldn't be any kind of battle. We should all be able to have our own opinions and still be able to hang, you know what I mean?
So how were those first, weeks out there with all the media? We're talking legacy media. I mean, celebrity.
Tons.
I mean, did you get to know people? Was there a sense of community? What was the vibe?
Like whenever I did show up on Camino Escalante, it would be to touch bases with JLR and Jacob and or whoever was in town at the time. But other than that, I didn't really hang with any of the other ones because really I was there for Nancy. This just felt like the YouTube thing helped, of course, but at the same time I kept searching. So probably for another 3 weeks or until I didn't have my car anymore, I was just searching different washes in there because there's so many of them out here, but I didn't find anything. But
so that's something that I didn't realize that you guys, was it just the YouTuber searching? Who was searching? Anyone else media searching or just?
I never saw, okay, other than us and I tried to put together a search. Nobody. I didn't see I didn't see law enforcement searching anything. And everybody will tell you that Jacob, Damien, they'll all tell you the same thing. There was no search groups ever. And then when I tried to organize a search, like a volunteer search, Nano said something that night, like, "Oh, well, you're gonna have to not to come anywhere where we're searching at, and that you have to get a permit."
He told you that himself, directed
it
or
was
his
like
people?
no, he publicly he posted something.
Okay.
And like in other words, right away he's already thwarting off that. Which, nothing has made sense from the beginning. So why would he not? We weren't like at Nancy's house searching. We were just going to be searching
in the area. I mean? Yeah,
in the area. We met at the Hobby Lobby. It's not even next to Nancy's house. So it's like, but
did that seem odd to you? I mean, I don't know much about this. But
I love Tucson. But I didn't know how it worked around here, and it was strange. So I just never thought it would just keep, just every time you think something might. No, it's strange. Everything that he did, everything that the sheriff did,
and
letting off that. Yeah.
No, continue, please.
No, go ahead. Just him like holding off the FBI and just all those things, sending stuff to his lab. Where my theory is almost aimed a little towards maybe a group of his own goons. You know what I mean? He's a 50 years, they know CIs, they know trouble. We heard, did you get to hear the lab last night? That was awesome.
I did miss it.
It's pretty good, but he was, Aaron Cross, one of the only ones who could speak about him was talking about how someone that Nanos knew, he almost like helped him with everything in his court case, put him in his jail. In other words, of course, everything is done weird around here. Like, I don't know how it is in Texas or anywhere else you go. It's usually just about the sheriffs. Here, like I took pictures the other day. I just haven't posted them yet. Every sign has Chris Nanos on it. Like he wanted to make sure he's on every. And when you go to like sheriffs in other counties, it's like, it's not about them. It's about being a sheriff. And you know what I mean? And he just doesn't have that. It's all about him.
Is it his picture or just his name?
His name on everything.
Okay. Well,
on professional signs, expensive metal,
correct.
He wants to leave that legacy,
that will have to be redone at the city's cost when he's gone. Yeah.
Especially if he gets indicted or arrested. That's not going to look good, No.
So, I remember seeing because I mean, I started following this because the case just hooked me. I can't imagine living in the town where this happened. The whole town would have been turned upside down, but now I'm getting the impression that it wasn't.
Not at all. And then even when we tried to do like sign waving and whatever, like we have like 2 or 3 people out there, you know? So I can't really speak bad about Tucson. It's just that maybe, I don't know. I really can't explain it. Kind of like how everybody says, if that was my mom, you know, who hasn't said that? I said it. If that was
Yep.
my mom, I'd be out there to this day, you know, like, and it's just strange how they want to shut everybody up. And then, you know, the arrest for just, I don't know. It's almost like his own frustration.
So when you guys are out there pretty early, is anybody, you know, in your group? Because I saw a picture of all you guys went to dinner. All the YouTubers went to dinner kind of a few weeks in, but was anybody talking about the family's reaction or the search over at Annie's house?
That's a good question. It's almost like we were always just moving, doing something, doing this. And a lot of times how we work is like we all have our own paths, whatever we had to do for that day. It's almost like we didn't really try to plan too much. Kind of like if someone's going on at 5, I better go on after that at 7. Like, you know, we just do what we
Coordinate.
do out there. So coordinate in that sense, you know what I mean? But I always just, what bothered me is that one Instagram post in Savannah would have had the Tucson's help and search. And, you know, I'm not as pretty as Savannah, you know? So, you know, people, but with her name and her, you know, one Instagram would have had the whole town helping to search. And that's what's strange as well, you know?
So that isn't just your opinion. I mean, were other people
No,
mentioning that on the street?
yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know if you noticed, but there's times that we go up to people and they don't even know what we're talking about. Or
Yes.
once we bring it up, they're like, oh, the lady, you
Yeah.
know? And that's weird because really when I did have my TV and I had I have cable here, but you know, of course, just natural cable, but you get KVOA and all that. None of those channels, they stopped talking about Nancy pretty soon after.
And
like
then they'll bring her up, but if there's something newsworthy, only then.
Or milestones. I'm pretty sure that'll be Savannah once a year or something, you know.
So did you ever were you there when the family did that memorial walk down with Annie and Tommaso and Savannah? Were you there that day?
I was in town that day, but they kind of planned that. You can kind of tell they worked around JLR's schedule. It was
So what does
funny.
that mean? That he
So
wasn't
like
there?
yeah, kind of like one of the times they had went to Mount Lemon. That's when the FBI scoured Nancy's. They were going house to house, and like the day that they went to the memorial, I forgot where JLR was, but it was almost strategically. I'm not saying it's built around him, but it's almost like they wanted to get News Nation to make sure they had the exclusive, you know.
So
weird.
really, well, everybody thought it felt staged, and I don't know if and so it's very possible that they're obviously watching you.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, my channel isn't as big, but those times when there's nobody out there, they're going to watch, especially the law enforcement. I mean, we saw them doing it. Yeah.
So when you were finding things, did you tell law enforcement that you were finding clothing? And
yeah. So the first time was really early on. I was actually on the street and I came from Tommaso's. It was when I still had my car. And that's where I first, you know, kind of like however some people are still stuck on it. Well, that was where I was looking right away. So I'm walking that wash behind his house and there was lots of clothes there. You wouldn't think there'd be any kind of trash or clothes there, but there was. And then there was an anomaly of dirt. It was just like real soft, and I was putting a stick in it, and it wouldn't go down. And I just hadn't seen anything like that.
okay.
So I left that. So I went to Camino Escalante, and it was the same day. I think Savannah was like, even if it's little, you know. So I kind of went to that officer, gave him the tip, and then they called me later. And detectives came and picked me up at my house. We drove all the way out there to where the anomaly was, met up with like 3 FBI peoples. And they said they wanted me to point it out. They wanted to see the bottom of my shoes. And it was probably nothing burger because, I mean, they weren't going to tell me anyway.
Yeah.
But And then they kind of took me back to the house. I just kind of pointed out where it was at, and that was it. And they did their own little.
Yeah. So it seems like JLR found some pants as well. And I'm sure he turned it in. It seemed like it took them a while to come out and collect them from the wash, though. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, I do remember. I think it was him and Jim, but I think eventually they came and picked it up. I'm not sure, but we got used to that. Really, I mean, I still have pictures of gloves that were everywhere. But they don't care about that or the clothes. Or I mean, I found suitcases. I found a panty tree. I don't know if you ever saw that right
No.
there on First and Orange. Yeah, like a tree with all kinds of panties on there.
Wow.
I'm just
Wow.
saying and we also found people living under the culverts, and that's all close to Nancy's that we were searching, probably within a mile and a half, 2 mile radius. Just doing. We didn't know, so we're just looking. And if I saw something weird, I would just take a picture. Because I know they weren't going to come out for every little thing that I saw because there was a lot of stuff. There was
Yeah.
one of the culverts. There was someone living in there, and there was like a row of like 8 shovels. I don't know if he's a shovel collector, but it's just all
Well,
those weird things, and
yeah. That looks suspicious, right? I mean,
right, like doesn't
that's
look
not
right.
normal.
Well, why would this person have homeless but yet have a collection of shovels? I don't know. I just couldn't.
So were you going back and forth to Annie's house? It seems like when people would show up I mean, how was that?
No, I was more maybe a couple times I might have went over there with somebody, but for the most part, I wasn't. I think I went to their house one time and was live in the front. But as far as searching, that was probably once I had contacted law enforcement and they went out there. I just kind of just, even though I still thought they were involved at that time, but no, I wasn't. I didn't want to be harassing them or anything. I just
Yeah.
wanted to find
So
Nancy.
so after the first few days, did everybody kind of just have a spot and like leave their stuff on the road in front of Nancy's? I mean,
Yep,
nobody
tents,
touched
everything.
it? Everything.
No, nope,
Wow.
nothing was stolen. If anything, they just left a mess. Like us YouTubers from the very beginning. I don't know if we just had a code or whatever. We just always cleaned up after ourselves, and maybe we're just regular people because they would leave trash. They're running generators. I mean, it was nuts out there. That was a nuisance. I wasn't.
Did anyone have a porta potty? I mean,
No,
seriously.
that's funny. Nuh-uh, no.
No.
But they were also had their vehicles right there. They could drive to the local whatever
Yeah.
the Starbucks right there or something.
So, the night that they were doing the luminol in Annie's house, were you aware that that was going on?
Nuh-uh.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I had to catch it live. It must have
Yeah.
been one of the nights I wasn't on that because it's even though it's like 10 miles away, it's a 30-minute drive to get to Nancy's. Period. Traffic, no
Residential.
traffic. It's just just a lot of turns and
Mhm. So was there a sense of like the YouTubers versus legacy media? Was there any interactions between you? Did you feel like they treated you differently or just it was fine?
it was fine.
Yeah.
I was just really still taking notes with JLR. Even though whenever I'm not looking for Nancy, I wasn't trying to like. In other words, I was just kind of paying attention to what he does, and I was learning that. Like people would come up to JLR and they'd be, it's like Inside Edition. They're like, "Hey, can we get an interview with you?" And
Yeah.
in my head, I'm thinking, and at that time, I'm like, "Bro, everybody's coming up to him," and he's like, "No, I'm okay right now. You can put your number in my phone or something like that." And to me, that just blew my mind, and it just more stuff I was taking notes about. We're like, yeah, because and the reason is because if he ever does that, they end up doing a hit piece on him, and that's
Yeah.
what sucks.
Yeah.
Here he's out there doing the right thing, and they're doing it, and you're like, oh, we'll do an interview, and he's right. And so now, and so I kind of learned a lot from that.
Were they twisting his words or just making it look bad?
I don't know. You just hit pieces, whatever. They're
Yeah.
not twisting his words, just like,
Uh-huh.
and then there wasn't a lot, but you just never know. So
You,
that's why he does it. Like he's just cautious anyway, and plus he's like, I don't need anything from him. I'm not trying to get hired on News Nation. I'm not trying to get hired on NBC. You know what I mean? So I kind of took that in that sense. For like, oh, that's like really powerful to me. It was awesome.
The YouTube is where it's really going right now because it's citizen journalists like yourself. And it's, people doing, I mean, seriously, you guys were in the trenches. You were doing, in my opinion, sorry, more than the family. It feels like. And, that's why we appreciate you and we can tell that you care. You didn't have to be out there every day and it was hot. It had to have been hot, with the
Yeah. Well, it
temperature.
wasn't as bad, but I mean, I was out there like at 3 in the morning by myself in those culverts, and I might have been a little scared, but I was still like, I wanted to remain fearless, and search for the truth. I wanted to keep just looking. We didn't have any answers, and it was strange to me that the family didn't do anything, but I almost felt like they got the memo. Something early on, they got the memo that they didn't want to share with the world. So it's almost like we kept searching, but it still felt like it's looked pretty dumb if they had the answers already. You know what I mean?
I
If
feel
they
the
do, I
same
don't know,
way.
just yeah, like seems like they already have closure for some reason, or like they already did a funeral for her, or of course I'm just speculating, but I mean that's what it feels like.
Well, when the sheriff doesn't send out dogs, or cadaver dogs, and the search stops, it's like he must know something. How do you stop it if you don't know it? Or I mean, people are wondering if he hasn't sabotaged it.
100%. I mean, everything that you think an investigator would have done on this case, he did just the opposite, and it makes no sense. I mean, and that's why even other law enforcement here in Arizona, they're embarrassed. They're embarrassed about how he's turned Pima County sheriffs into. It's terrible. And then there was another death in the jail yesterday. That's number
Another.
7 this year. Yes, guys. It's this number. It's like 67, 67. It's like around somewhere that number where in the last 5 years, yeah, like it's just, because it's all about, and that jail, and then, trust me, they're all about 19, 20 years old. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I mean, they're just not trained properly because for Nanos, I don't know if you heard him, it's all about control and compliance. And they do that with restraint chairs and tasers. So like even Chris McDonough was saying, like even John Lamb was like, no, we'll go hands on before you go here. They would go into the cells already with their tasers deployed, already with their plan that they were going to tase this guy. And Wade Welch, he was murdered on camera. They even have it on camera, and it's terrible. And none of those correctional officers faced any retribution or any, accountability for that because Laura Conover didn't decide to file any charges. And there was 7 for Wade Welch. And that's just one case. With Wade Welch, there was 7 correctional officers restraining him, 13 other ones watching. He even told them, "You're killing me," and they did.
And this is still happening. It's still happening. And do you believe that these are all beatings?
We don't know. Like,
Yeah.
of course, they're going to say fentanyl and all that stuff, but you're not going to. It's not easy to get fentanyl into that jail. I promise you. It had to be through a correctional officer. If there's any kind of fentanyl overdoses, because not to be graphic, but they did ball checks, butt checks, cough checks.
Yeah.
They put me in an X-ray. You're not just going to smuggle some stuff in there that easy, So if it's another fentanyl overdose, I don't know what it was. It was a 43-year-old, so I don't know. Of course, they're not going to tell us how or what.
I'm sorry. The female who called into Damien claims that she's Barnett's sister and that it was the CO.
It was his sister.
It was. Okay.
Yeah, it was his, but she also said a few things that might have been a little, like you might even have a kid with her, but I don't think that's true. As far as the pills, I could tell you firsthand that it almost might be very true because I talked to one ex-correctional officer and one current correctional officer. Of course, I'm not going to say any names that are working there right now. And he pulled me to the side and asked what he had heard. And he goes, they didn't know how it was getting in there. So it's almost like he had like this look like, oh, like, and everybody knows how do you get the phones in prison? How do you get the drugs?
Yeah. It's
underpaid correctional officers. It's a tough job. And remember, these are young people. their frontal lobe hasn't even closed yet, you know, and they're fresh out of high school, and it's all about control and compliance, not de-escalating, not, you know.
So that kind of segues into, what happened as far as your arrest. And, first of all, I feel like our community is standing behind you completely because, I mean, there's clear things that were taken advantage of with not just you, but with others and your First Amendment rights. I know where you were sitting because I've been there. I went to Nancy's house May 4th. So do you want to talk about the first arrest and then explain your experience in the jail or whatever you're comfortable with?
Yeah, so the first time it was the 8th of June, and I heard they're all sheriff's department knocking, and so I looked out the window, and it was Detective Perez, the lady detective. She's all something. Can you come out here? Because I didn't want to just go out there. I know how it goes. So she goes, if you could just come out here and talk to us for a second. So I go out the door. I didn't want to be like, I know I hadn't done anything wrong. So I went out there, and sure enough, they're handcuffing me. And I somewhat said this exact same thing that I was saying over there. I go, what am I under arrest for? I go, what am I? And they wouldn't answer me. So I called for my daughter. She came outside, and then she helped calm them down, and then they cuffed me. But when you haven't done anything unlawful, that's how come it feels weird. Because there's times I've been arrested, and you know what? I probably was involved in some of that. You know what I mean?
You weren't surprised, yeah.
Right. I haven't been arrested since 2009, and that's when I cleaned up my life and stopped, using heavy drugs, and so this was just awkward. So she takes me down to the car, or into the sheriff's deputy vehicle, and she's like, that's when they finally told me what I was under arrest for. She goes, oh no, they did tell me upstairs, but she said criminal nuisance. And so when she got to the car, she goes, it was a mistake. I didn't mean to say criminal nuisance. It was public nuisance. And she goes, okay. And then she goes, if you're willing to talk, I go, yeah. She goes, so it's because you have your urine and you threw it. And I go, are you sure? That's juice. Hopefully he's okay. But anyway, and so she goes, yeah, and you threw the urine. I go, I never threw any urine, detective. I go, make sure you watch that video again, the whole thing, because I think I said it before and I said it after that I never peed in there that day. In other words, I didn't pee, do anything with it. You know what I mean? So she goes, and she looked at me like, she was like, huh, but they still took me. So they took me to the jail. That county sucks. It's like a tiny place you go into first where they kind of make you take your shoelaces off, stuff like that. And then you go into the middle part, which is pretrial, it's like a big pod. And the court that Damien has on there, it's like a little room you go into, and they have these, but that sucked.
Yeah. So literally were fingerprinted, strip search, where you put in a holding tank, or?
Well, was Juice arrested that day too, right? I'm trying to remember my days. Is that the day?
I'm not sure. I'm
even
not
my
sure.
days are mixed up because we met up at the first booking.
Oh, you did.
In other words, when he turned the corner, I was like, what? Like, in other words, I think it was that day because I was already like, oh man, after they're telling me, and then Juice turns the corner. I'm like, oh. But once we got in the book after first one, they put us into the pod. They put me in the hole because we couldn't be together. Kind of like how Santiago and what's his name, Alex can't be together. Me and Juice weren't even co-defendants, but we couldn't be together. Okay. So the hole right there is just like a cell, and no bed, no couch, a toilet, no toilet paper, no running water, nothing. You just sleep on the floor.
Wow. And was it freezing too? Was it cold?
Yeah, it was freezing. They keep it cold in there. I heard why is that because if you notice anybody in pretrial, they have their hands in their shirt.
Yes.
It's because they do that on purpose because people don't get as agitated when you're cold. Isn't that weird? Which makes sense, I guess.
So you're sleeping on the floor, no blanket, no pillow.
Not even a toilet paper for a pillow.
Nothing.
And that's like, I know I was innocent and I know I didn't do anything, but I look at it as like, what if that was my mother, or what if it was my cousin, or even one of my daughters? Like, if you're innocent till you're proven guilty, then what's this all about? In other words,
I
kind of like
mean,
how I'm
that's
not allowed, kind of like how I'm not allowed on Camino Escalante. I haven't been convicted of anything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm guilty till I'm proven innocent.
I
And
think
I told the
dogs
judge that.
I think dogs at the dog shelter have even like a bed. I mean, they're treated better. And the thing is you weren't really in there for, I mean, this wasn't a major thing. It was public nuisance. And
Yeah.
you're being treated like, wow.
And then so besides those the holes, which I don't, there's the little cells, but cement cells, but then everybody is in this pod. And in that pod, there's also no beds. So everybody who's in there waiting for their court, whether it's today or tomorrow, you just lay there on the, and I'm not saying that it's supposed to be comfortable, but at least
Sure.
give them somewhere. I mean,
No
it's just really
chairs.
cruel. And then the worst part is right when you go into the second pod is the row of restraint chairs they have there. It's like 6 or 7 of them just lined up. And I heard them use it while I was there. Luckily, I didn't. It's when you come into the first booking, if you act up, and once you get into that one, then you're screwed, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a problem with a couple of the guards in there, but luckily it was when I was in the hole. So we were going back and forth through the window.
They couldn't get you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And so Juice was in the main pod and he was just as uncomfortable. He just happened to be
yeah,
around other people.
right. And then the pod is where the phones are. So I go, you have a right to be able to use your phone when you go to jail. I've been in jail before. Well, no, not if I'm in the hole. There's no phone in there. So I had to wait and then Juice had to get put in the hole so I could go out there to use the phone. You know what I
Okay.
mean? Because we can't be
Wow.
around each other. Yeah.
Oh my
It's crazy.
gosh. You know,
Misdemeanors.
I
Misdemeanors.
know.
Especially
That's
the first time. Yeah.
that's terrifying. Seriously.
I mean, and then the fact that Laura Conover and Samantha Walker are still pursuing this case is a joke. This is what our Pima County taxpayers are paying for.
Well, then, yeah. So we're going to get there. Tell me about the second. So you get out. And so are you thinking, screw this? I'm going to go live in front. What made you go back
Well,
to Nancy's? I mean,
because they never told me I had to not, they never said I wasn't allowed there.
okay.
All they did was charge me with public nuisance and blocking the roadway. And of course, everybody should know that we would use the easement all the time until
Mhm,
someone put rocks there. And we have
mhm.
proof of that too. And you know who I'm talking about. Is the rocks were there. We didn't want to move the rocks because then they'll accuse us of doing something. So that's why we were in the road. We didn't used to have to do that until rocks were put there, and feces and cactus. So yeah, so
So
I went out there. Yeah, so I went out there. I don't know how many days. Oh, it was actually, I do know, it was 3 days later because it was the 11th.
let me share my screen so people, this is from your channel actually. And so people can see that this is where you're sitting on the side of the road. You are
Yeah.
not
Shout
in.
out to Griffin. Griffin
There
is
you-
he's from the AZ Republic. I forgot the name
oh,
of his publication, but he was next time I saw him after that, and not to be rude, but it seemed like he was kind of scared because he had published that. And I'm like, no, that helped me
yeah.
because it shows where I was. Because really all you see is them coming up to me. But yeah, I was completely off the roadway.
Well, you've got cones. The car's not going here. And the thing is the streets are, 2 car widths wide.
Yeah.
There's no lines, but there's no sidewalks. And people are walking. They're walking their dogs. They're with their kids. It's an outdoor walking community. So they're used to going around. There's not
With no
bumper to bumper
sidewalks, of
traffic.
course. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And the worst thing about what happened here is with the rocks is like, let's say you're walking down the street and you're walking your daughter, and when a car does go crazy, you should be able to get off the road. And by you obstructing the easement isn't cool. Of course, I didn't report that, but I mean, we just tried to work around. We weren't trying to bother people. I just
I
wanted to
mean,
document. Yeah.
you're a very small footprint here. You're not yelling at
Right.
anybody. You're not, you're not in the
Only
way
time,
of anybody.
full disclosure, anytime I did yell, it's because they yelled at something at me. You know what I mean? People were like, "You're just being rude to the neighbors." I have phone numbers of at least 4 neighbors in that neighborhood that will show up and testify for me because I'm still friends with those people. I met them there. I
Mm.
still get information from these people sometimes.
So when you're here, how long were you here before the sheriff showed up?
I think that video is about an hour and 5 minutes. So it was about an hour, yeah, I guess, when they showed up.
And
And
I mean, were
I
you
was telling them to pull up. I kept telling Nanos, pull up, and they pulled up.
So, and we played the other night. I got everybody kind of ready, and we looked through some ordinances and whatnot for the 911 calls, and people are floored. They're from Canada, Texas, and I mean, how did you feel when you found out these are people from other states?
I already knew because I knew the neighbors around there. I know that there's a couple neighbors there, 3, maybe 4 that I know of that don't like me, and that's fine. And I just stay away from there. You know what I mean? But other than that, I knew that when we got, that's why we did the FOIA requests. We knew when we got these calls. I mean, I didn't know it was going to be that bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that one lady says I'm drinking alcoholic beverages. I'm sipping a margarita.
Yeah.
I never threw full disclosure. I never threw a cactus at any car. And an officer actually came up to me and asked me, and I said, no, I was live since I've been out here. If I threw a cactus, you guys know me. I'm an honest person. If I was pissed off and I threw a cactus, I would have been like, eventually I'd been like, I did it. You guys, I'm not going to lie. I never threw a cactus at a car. Where would I even get the cactus?
Make sense.
Right.
Yeah. What are you going to rip it out of with the Incredible Hulk strength? And I mean, that's crazy. So you're sitting here and people are calling in, and I had asked you in my email when we were emailing first to set this up. I'm like, I had thought that maybe originally Savannah had called in complaining about you, and you said, oh, she did. And if you're okay with me sharing the document that you sent me. Okay.
Of course.
So this is the document that did you FOIA this, or did they give this to you?
FOIA.
Okay. So
and actually, that's actually the detailed incident report. So it's like anybody could grab it actually.
Okay. So let me read this. So narrative on June 11th, 2026 at approximately 1700 hours, I received communication from Savannah Guthrie. I'm taking it this is Nanos that's typing this.
Well, Stivers, do you know who Stivers is?
I don't.
Oh, actually, I should tell you who typed it at the time.
Oh, it's supplement typed by Detective D. Stivers. Yes.
Who was actually a sergeant, and now he's a lieutenant. The same. You know who Stivers is? The guy who was on the stage.
Okay.
Lurch.
Really?
Yeah, so in other words, when he kept saying FBI was there, no. So that second press conference when it was him and another guy,
yeah,
the bald guy, lurch-looking guy, that's Detective Sergeant Stivers.
And this is the guy that Chris McDonough said, that
he's never done a homicide case.
And that he'd been up all night, and Nanos was like, "Oh,
he was not Nanos. He's been up all night."
Yeah. Okay. So so she's got his number. Okay. So I received communication from Savannah Guthrie regarding this matter. I was informed by Ms. Guthrie that she had received information that a YouTube personality that goes by Criminal Networks was in front of her mother's house, possibly live streaming. I know this person to be Alex Zabel through previous investigations. Ms. Guthrie is one of the responsible parties for the property at blank, 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 and has been having issues with several of the internet true crime vloggers, one of which is Mr. Zabel. I didn't realize she was having trouble with you naughty person.
Not only for months, I know. I wish she should have just reached out and told me. I would have,
And it sounds to me like somebody told her this. So
right.
The neighbors probably called that don't like you. Okay, so it says Miss Guthrie was extremely upset that Mr. Zabel was back in front of her mother's residence. Over the last couple of months, she has expressed to me her displeasure about what has been going on with these vloggers and has on multiple occasions told me that she fears for her and her family's safety with some of the actions that they have been taking. So, okay, I'm just going to stop here. Oh my God, I love it. Well, okay, out of respect to her, she could be traumatized and triggered. Her mother was taken from her home and murdered.
And I understand and I agree with that.
But at the same time, I'm not sure what some of the actions that they've been taking. Did she call on News Network? Did she call on CNN or Fox News? That were just you guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Brian Enton had a tent on Sue Ellen's property, like not on the easement. She allowed him to set up a tent on the property.
She loved him, huh?
Yeah.
And has on multiple occasions told me that she fears for her and her family's safety with some of the actions. Well, there's no one left in Tucson to even be hurt.
And the house that we sit in front of, there was nobody in there.
Nobody.
Nancy's gone. Nobody else stayed there. The two houses behind me, Sue Ellen, and that's like the other side of their yard, and Paul. You know what I mean? Like, we're not, other than the cars going by, there's so many roads around there. If they went by there, they could have went a different way. In other words, if I was their problem, you know what I mean? But the Gem Guy house lady, she drove by the same day I was arrested, and I'm surprised she's not one of those calls. But she was like, I guess you didn't learn the first time, so you're worthless or something. Took off.
So when the people were yelling at you, did you think maybe I should leave, or what? I mean, you weren't doing anything wrong. You have rights and a public.
I felt uncomfortable there for a long time, though.
You did, okay?
Yeah, but I felt comfort out of just being there, that there's no answers, and you know what I mean. And I think a lot of people like being able to see the house, and I didn't think, of course, there's like, you were blasting music. I'm playing music on my phone. People just tried to, exaggerate stuff a little too much.
So this is the last paragraph. On today's date, Ms. Guthrie was unaware of what Mr. Zabel was doing or saying on the live stream, but his mere presence was upsetting to her. And that is what I titled my show 2 days ago. And it's disgusting. Hey, here's the thing. She doesn't need to know what you're doing. And I even said in my live the other night, I said, I bet you anything, if anyone walked up while you were there and started messing with Nancy's house, you probably would have stopped them and protected her property.
100%.
And
we even kind of gave people the heads up. Hey, you probably don't want to pull into there, before they had the chains, or people would come, I can't speak for all the YouTubers, but really I could even speak for them, is that none of us ever went on Nancy's property, ever.
Well,
and I know we're going to talk about the chain thing.
Yes.
That's not that house, just so you know.
Okay.
It's how they inflate stuff, but I'll tell you we can talk about the chain thing too.
Awesome.
And I did step over a chain, but there was no chain at Nancy's. How's that?
So you must have seen what I did the other day with Chat GPT. Did you watch that episode?
Yeah, I saw that part. I was watching part of that part.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah.
Yeah, I was
come up with a lie
you.
Real quick. So I was like, let me look up a quick lie.
Well, and I even said,
know me.
I don't think he did anything with a chain. I can't see you doing that to her house. So
exactly.
Okay. So
well, I mean, even Nano said I defecated and urinated in the neighborhood. Come on, man. Come on.
No, you brought.
And I used to use that porta potty until
Yeah.
they started harassing Jews. The cops were harassing Jews. You know what I mean? It's like it was segregated or something. What's wrong with this crap? What's wrong with this neighborhood?
If you had, peed in a Gatorade bottle, that would be different. You brought a pop-up tent so that it was decent. And what are you supposed to do?
And you know why? Yeah. I chat GPT'd. I said, if I can't go to the restroom and there's nowhere to walk to, what can I do? You have to go behind in other words, to not be exposed, you have to go behind a wall. There's no walls that you could go walking around in there and not, not be trespassing. So that's why I looked it up. And then the P tent is what came up. Adam. What's up, Adam?
We got a whole bunch of people. Juanita left to go back to work. So Adame.
Yes. Oh, yes. I'm the P tent boy now.
Well,
which is
I
fine.
love
But
it.
you know what made it? Yeah, me too. And then what made it worse was the KVOA. I don't know if you saw, but there was 2 different ones that they, doctored my video. And then they even brought, did you see the video where they were, the neighbors had enough, so they were in silhouettes?
No.
Those were not the neighbors. Those weren't people that lived in the neighborhood. So KVOA went out of their way to lie. We even found out who the silhouettes were. It's a guy named Ricky Vasquez. Yeah. Who's friends with Monica Garcia, who works at KVOA. I'm surprised she still has a job. Because they doctored sound. It made it sound like I poured pee. Kind of like what the cop told me when she took me down to the car. And I said that there was nothing in there. If there was, I'll tell you right now. I told the officer, I'll tell you right now, that thing was empty. I told her I still have it upstairs. If there was pee in it, you think I would have kept it here like a souvenir or something? Come on. So KVOA didn't make anything better either, you know.
Well, I would like to see that video now because that's
I have it. Yeah,
it sounds like a lawsuit. That sounds like a lawsuit to me.
Yeah, and KVOA owned by NBC, and they allowed that to happen, and it was 2 different segments. One of them is called First Amendment Rights. So on KVOA or on Monica Garcia, KVOA First Amendment Rights.
Okay.
And we know the neighbors there. Why are you going to be in a silhouette? They weren't scared of us. And we found out who they were. It was pretty easy to see. And when you hear them talking about it, nothing of it.
Neighborhood battle.
I think it's like 7 minutes, but it's worth listening to because it's all doctored. I could tell you the people who are in silhouettes.
I want to play this, let me stop this. Let me put it back in and so I can get sound because, and really quick while I'm pulling this up, there are still charges against you. Some were dropped, but some are still there. Is that correct?
Both cases. Yeah. I still have charges on both cases. They just turned the felony into a misdemeanor, the resisting arrest. Now it's resisting passive.
The guy who got physical with you looks like he flip-flopped himself onto the ground, in my opinion. But maybe he tripped on himself. But you weren't throwing anyone.
No, but they said that on the news as well because it was also said by the Pima County Sheriff's Office. Remember, their narrative is powerful, whatever they say, because everybody ran with it. You know what I mean? Brian Enton ran with it. KVOA ran with it. KGUN ran with it. And it was false, just like, yeah. But KVOA, they need to be sued. But me, I'm like the person, like, I'm not doing this for money. So, like, of course I could sue them, but that costs money too. And that's just more headaches. But what they did is they should have looked at themselves because it's still up. And when you see those silhouettes, you're like, dude, we know all the neighbors and we know the people in that neighborhood. You think that lady who said I was drinking an alcoholic beverage lived in that neighborhood? Shalanda? That's what the police report says. Shalanda doesn't live in, other words, it's trolls sending people out and having people call all the time.
Well, let me hit play then. And if this is the right video, let me hit play and let's see what happens.
Going in depth tonight for over 4 months now, a Catalina Foothills neighborhood says they've endured threats, intimidation, and overall bad behavior from content creators following the mysterious kidnapping of their 84-year-old neighbor, Nancy Guthrie. The trauma, many say, has been all too much, leaving them living in what they are calling a neighborhood nightmare. News 4 Tucson's Monica Garcia has been following those concerns all along and is asking questions now about what is being done to bring peace back to that neighborhood. Monica.
Well, Sean, the neighbors we have spoken to in Nancy's neighborhood tell me that they have felt helpless. They felt scared and even targeted by certain streamers who have lingered in her neighborhood. And we do have to say this comes after the Pima County Sheriff's Department charged 3 YouTubers that had been broadcasting out there live for various misdemeanors and a felony, from blocking a public thoroughfare to being a public nuisance to even resisting arrest. The accused are publicly now disputing those charges, saying their First Amendment rights are being violated. Well, tonight we are taking a closer look at their rights, as well as the rights of the people living in that neighborhood.
It's the latest chapter in a saga that began after the disappearance of their 84-year-old neighbor, Nancy Guthrie. Neighbors say they've since endured months of disruption.
Yeah, I remember you.
Intimidation and unwanted attention.
She doesn't like anybody stopping here.
Feeling like there's been little recourse to stop it.
I'm not packing anything up. I'm hanging out right here, bro.
Blocking the road.
Early on, the county added no parking zones and no trespassing signs in the area.
The sign is fraudulent. Okay.
It's not fraudulent.
There were also discussions about gating the community. Some neighbors even considered seeking protective orders or pursuing civil action against certain streamers they felt were targeting them. But they say those options aren't quick or simple and can take years through the courts before any real protection is in place.
Well, journalists or content creators have a right to be on public sidewalks to be in public places and to gather the news.
We sat down with attorney David Bodney, who defends media in First Amendment cases. He says the law is clear, whether you're a traditional journalist or an independent content creator. The Constitution protects the rights to report and record in public places.
It's federal minimum regulations.
But laws of general applicability are applicable to content creators and journalists too, which means that they don't have a right to engage in criminal conduct or in conduct that might give rise to civil liability.
It's kind of overwhelming now with them, continuing to come out on these false reports. I mean, these people are just calling the police for no reason.
In other words, the First Amendment protects the right to record, report, and gather information in public, but it does not override laws that apply to everyone else. That means free speech protections don't shield someone if their conduct violates criminal or civil law, even if it happens while they are filming or reporting.
Is there like a story or just a deadline to how, like, when you're going to complete it, or are you just going to keep going?
I mean, we're here for public awareness.
The Pima County Sheriff says deputies did not start with arrests. You say they first tried to address concerns directly with content creators who remained in the neighborhood after larger media groups left, explaining where they could legally conduct their live streams.
The roads, you need to leave.
I'm sitting.
You're going to get cited.
In this encounter, a deputy speaks with a YouTuber without issuing a citation. The sheriff says the tougher response came only after months of complaints, warnings, and escalating behavior.
We've given you tickets. We've asked you not to do this. You've pushed the envelope.
I never got a
As far as I'm
ticket,
concerned,
so you know.
we're going to now take it to court. And we're going to take it to court by booking you in jail.
But you'd want to but you want to with me. Then why don't you let me sit here? You care about Nancy, bro?
And according to the sheriff, the issue wasn't always about whether they were on public or private property. He says it also involved the nature of the live streaming and whether conduct crossed into actions not protected under the Constitution. The First Amendment attorney we spoke with says those rights remain fundamental.
There are criminal laws that prohibit harassment and stalking and trespass. There are civil claims for pretty much the same: harassment and trespass, intentional infliction of emotional distress.
Where free speech ends is where the law takes over. And that means a person can be exercising free speech rights and still.
Hey,
Oops.
yeah, real quick. I'm glad you paused it.
Trespassing,
Yeah, I'll pause
stalking, assault.
Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good. But you're going to see here in a minute is that Monica thinks the First Amendment is about freedom of speech and forgets about the freedom of the press. That's part of the First Amendment as well.
So who are these two people that are these the
silhouettes you're about to see? Yeah.
Are these neighbors?
They don't, neither one of them live in, the female doesn't even live in Arizona anymore. And Ricky Vasquez, if you look at the third picture, that's him and Monica Garcia when we were at court the other day, when we went to Derek Kalela's court. Her and Ricky Vasquez are buddies. So now when you finish watching that video, you can be like, oh, now it makes sense.
Oh my
Monica
gosh.
shouldn't even have a job anymore. NBC should have seen that and been like,
Wow. Okay. All right. Let's that's good info as we go into this.
perfect
Threats
timing.
or other criminal conduct.
Yuck!
What?
For months, neighbors have described.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not the doctored one though.
Okay.
In other
So
words,
what were
they
you
have
doing?
sounded
Were you
throwing
throwing?
an empty. Yeah.
Okay.
Throwing an empty, but I mean, it was right there in my stuff.
Okay.
Threats,
Nothing
intimidation,
illegal.
and disruptive behavior in their community, including from streamers online. Bodney says when conduct impacts an entire neighborhood, there may be additional legal options.
There's a statute in Arizona that addresses the public nuisance. And it could be that the community, the neighborhood, could call upon law enforcement to explore possible public nuisance violations because the conduct is so widespread that it violates the quiet enjoyment of their property, their comfortable enjoyment of their land.
The sheriff says that's exactly the type of conduct his department is investigating. The department filed misdemeanor and 1 felony charge against 3 YouTubers who were frequently streamed from that area.
But the complaints got to be pretty egregious in that the behavior of those individuals was becoming pretty scary, pretty frightful.
The sheriff says the county attorney's office has been in contact with his department as the case moves forward after both law enforcement and neighbors raised questions.
I have to be concerned for all the citizens.
They cut it out.
So as we just heard, and we know that.
Did you say something to anyone and maybe they cut that segment out, or?
I believe so. I'm trying to see where I have it. I think I have it on my page. I'd have to probably, while we talk, I'll find it.
Yeah, if you and I've got your page up here. If you want to send.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Gotcha. Let me see which one it is. I think it has it. Let me look. It's under
yeah,
video.
no worries. So let me take this down. First of all, if you're just throwing an empty thing, you were by yourself. You're perfectly fine throwing a bottle. You're probably throwing it to put in the garbage. Just because Savannah does not want you there, or she doesn't like what you're saying or that you're live streaming, doesn't mean you have to leave.
Right. I mean, how was she feeling uncomfortable? She lives in New York.
That's the thing. There's no way you're going to be hurting her. And I mean, but again, she could be triggered because of what happened to her mother. But at the same time, there's a fine line between your neighbors being irritated or her neighbors being irritated just because you're there. You have a right to be there.
Yeah.
So that is okay. So let me just add this picture back. So this is, what's his name again?
Which one?
I have him on the screen. This
Ricky Vasquez.
Ricky Vasquez. And who is this woman?
And that's Ashley. Here, I'll give you another picture. So her page is Ashley. She has a true crime page, and the voice that you hear is her. So I'm going to show you her.
Okay.
And then Ricky Vasquez used to be so this is Ricky Vasquez working for KVOA.
So he's a freaking employee, and they had him silhouetted.
Right. Oh, how about this? Let me see. Is this it? There's another one I put there. This is the other one, Ash, but the last name is incorrect. I think I put the wrong last name. It's Ashley something else, but Hive of Secrets. So those are the two people, and I'm trying to see. It might have been where I have it at. Darn it.
So he's an employee of KVOA, and that's what they did.
I'm not sure if he works there, but that's what he hangs out with Monica though.
Well, he's doing something with the camera. Oh.
Right. Of course, I can't find that video now, but I definitely make sure I'll forward it to you. Because I've played it on mine a few times, and it's probably mixed into one of my other ones. I don't know.
So, okay. So you've been assigned an attorney, correct? Or you have an attorney?
They've assigned me an attorney, and it wasn't like I had to request an attorney. He didn't even ask if I had an attorney.
Okay.
It's just a misdemeanor. So he just assigned me an attorney. But I have my own legal team, really.
Okay.
I'm doing pro se, and then I have a lawyer ready. But the public defender hasn't done anything for me. So, and I already knew that's how it was going to happen. And
I know that 857 had a fundraiser, and he was going to be working on getting some things, changed or with ordinances. I'm not sure. And again, I apologize. I can't watch everything, but I mean, it's something. So what is your angle on how you plan to fight this? Because I can't believe that they hung on to these charges.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have money put aside for my attorneys where I have a criminal case and then I'll have a civil case, but I can't.
Okay.
Of course, I'm already talking to civil attorneys, but they can't really take over until I get these, and that's why I'm not taking any pleas. If I did something part of it that was illegal, I would take responsibility. I have in the past. I take accountability, but I didn't do anything wrong. You know what I mean?
And that makes sense. Just like with the Karen Reed case, I don't know if you followed that. They had to get the criminal thing done, and then the civil comes. So
right.
So you will be doing a civil after.
Oh, definitely.
Good.
Definitely.
Okay.
You can't just throw someone in jail and then let them out the next day and charges are dropped, and then they bring the charge. No, you're not going to steal my liberty and steal my freedom. You know what I mean? I've earned it to this point in my life where, like, you're not just going to throw me in jail for something you're telling me I didn't do. They wouldn't even tell me what I was under arrest for. And one of the laws says on an unwarranted, like, if there was no warrant to arrest me and I ask them what I'm under arrest for, they have to tell me. If I ask them what their name and their badge number is, they have to tell me. And the thing in the police report that says, they even said they weren't going to tell me what I was under arrest for until I was detained. Who does that? In other words, they had a plan on before they got there, what they were going to. And then when they came over there, the probable cause to arrest me that day is because somebody called and said I peed on camera. And on the way there to see me, they called them and they didn't answer. Of course they didn't answer. It's probably from a spoof number,
Yeah.
So everything they did is wrong. And the fact that the county attorney is just going on, she's just right under Nano's thumb too. That's all. That's what it shows.
Yeah.
But they're all going to come down with them. Eventually, someone's going to start throwing people under the bus,
Well, there's so many lawsuits right now against Nanos, from people in the
He's been a
jail.
problem. Yeah.
He does. And you were talking about earlier about the DA, where they're bringing perjury charges against him. Do you think that they will? I don't think they will, personally. No.
Political move. I hate to say political, but
it is.
It's all that way. And, even the attorney general had an advertisement with Kelly the other day. So, we know where all that's kind of Nanos is,
It's just dirty. It feels really, really dirty is what this feels. Really, really dirty.
Yeah. And then he's talking about how, if you notice, Nanos likes to reply to a lot of social media and his little stuff. I'm like, why are you worried about social media? Get your ass to work or something. Because the thing he forgets when they're making fun of YouTubers and all that stuff, you know what? We're part of the public. And you know what? We helped get in some of the tips too. We don't know. How do you think they found Alex? How do you think they found, all these other things? We're like, that's why we're there. So we could open up to the public so they could see us. People, like you said, 2026 and beyond, this is the media.
Yeah.
People want to see live, real people. Yeah.
Well, and we had this case on August 19th. The CO was, murdered, and the girlfriend was shot, and all of the local media and even you guys were covering that because there was a manhunt underway, which is what you do. And how is Savannah going to feel when all of a sudden her mom is not anywhere on anyone's radar?
Good point. That's a good point. How is everything else being solved and found? And here we don't even know a vehicle that left it. Come on.
This is the strangest case, not just how Nancy was taken, but the family's reaction. And then the fact that, people have commented, I'm not the first, but why is she focusing her anger at you guys or you when
Nanos too? Why?
Nanos.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What did we do? What did I do to Savannah? All she did was lose her chance with me. Psh, little sis, yeah. Shoot.
Oh my God.
But really, like, if it was that much of an issue, all they had to do was tell me. If she would have said it, I would have been like, maybe I am just, you know what I mean? Here I was just documenting for us. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. I bet you anything, if she had posted and said, please,
this guy, or why are these YouTubers? Then I would have been like, oh, okay, well, maybe. But instead, she went about it that way. And the thing on that report that you read was, did you see or hear anything? No. In other words, she didn't even watch the live. This is what made her uncomfortable, other than whoever called and told her. Annie, Sue Ellen, Jim lady, I don't know.
Well, and this is what's upsetting people is the fact that her Savannah's post that she did where, she's talking about her mother. It was the 6-month anniversary. And then in the last paragraph, she's talking about people who are praying for her mother are, good. And making money off of this are evil.
Don't smile or be entertained. How dare us?
And then she says
she built her career on other people's grief.
Ms. Guthrie was unaware of what Mr. Zabel was doing or saying on the live stream, but his mere presence was upsetting to her. This last weekend, she's at like a tennis open match in her Dolce and Gabbana dress. It's like, what is she doing? This is not looking good on her, and she should not be losing anyone's sympathy. It's like this ugly side is showing itself. Yeah. And again,
what helps is when time is making it look even worse,
yes.
Time is going by. Like we had to be, we had to have some sympathy, but now it's gotten to the point where who are you asking for help? Tell us where to look. Here, you don't want people out there. Nothing makes sense.
No. And she says they're looking.
I don't think the family is involved anymore, but I also feel like they haven't done anything to help or any urgency to ever find answers for Nancy. Like they have the memo.
And I mean, like I've said, hurt people. And it's very easy for her to turn on you because she's hurt. And that's normal. But this is
I agree.
At the same time, no one's paying attention to her mother's case other than YouTubers. And I'm sorry if we're just regular folk who, are just beneath her.
Oh, okay. Yeah, exactly.
And God forbid people make a living off of this. Is a job. This is you guys have done really good work. I just am sorry that this has happened to you. I really
don't you think that of all people, don't you think Savannah would know a lot about freedom of the press?
Yeah, she does.
Come on. She's a lawyer. She was a journalist. So she should know. You can't call from New York and tell you're uncomfortable because of my mere presence. Okay. I don't care if you don't like what I look like, but you'd have to put me in jail. And she helped help that happen.
There's another YouTuber that had a protective order against another YouTuber that was going on TikTok and saying things about her, and they went in front of the judge, and the judge slapped her hand. He said, "You're not here, to get a protective order. You're here because you don't like what she's saying about you on TikTok, and you can't do that." And he said, "I'm not doing that. You can't control what she says just because you don't like it."
That's it.
And, we're just following. When is your court date?
The 14th and the 15th. So the two different cases. They haven't put it together, both the two cases. It's still two separate.
Is there anything we can do to help pressure anybody to get these charges dropped? Or,
I mean, if you want to email maybe the county attorney or if I'm sure her email's out there. I mean, I don't want to put words in anybody else's mouth, but I mean, the fact that they're pursuing charges that were unlawful arrests. I'd take it, but me, I would take accountability if I thought I was a public nuisance, if I thought I was obstructing the roadway. Obstructing the roadway because Sue Ellen put rocks keeping us from off the easement. You know what I mean? And that's why they got so mad when I found my island and I found out that was county property and road, right of way. ROW, and that's what made them. That just was the last straw,
Well, what I'll do is,
I found the loophole.
I'll get with you to make sure we get the right email address, and I'm happy to post that email address so people can contact, because this is ridiculous, and it is a slippery slope. Yeah. It's easy for people to say, go get him, until it's you who.
Right. That's it.
It's not cool.
And it costs money to defend yourself, and it costs money to even sue somebody for, for all those things. So here, I'm just trying to work. I'm just trying to document stuff, trying to build my channel,
Yeah. Well, I know you guys went down to the border yesterday, and I just want to see if you could spend a few minutes to tell us about what you were hoping to accomplish, what you did see, anything along those lines.
I think we were just going down there. I think we all had our own little objectives, but just to be able to document and to be able to, show what's right, what's wrong. But we were kind of pushed out of there. It was kind of like we met a couple really cool people, indigenous, people who that's their, they live there, and they weren't able to. Like one wanted to go with us. I don't know if you're able to watch it, and then ended up not going, which we understood that part of it, but it was just like kind of like how I feel on Camino Escalante and how Juice too. Like we feel uncomfortable. We shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable. We shouldn't feel Juice especially.
Yeah.
He's allowed to go out there and he still can't go out there. Just imagine how in his head that must feel too. Like
no, it's ugly.
He's doing the right thing, and we're doing the right thing in our lives, and for that to happen to us, also. Don't want to be like, oh, poor me. You know me. I'm not going to be the poor me. Oh, I need help. But what's right is right, and what's wrong is wrong. And Nanos bends the laws to fit to what he wants, and even the county attorney is following that narrative.
Well, I was watching you guys when you're driving down, and I saw you at a gas station, and it looked like you were talking to a couple fellows, but I didn't see you guys get down to the border. What happened at the border?
We never made it. We never made it to the border. We were there in the Cells, the city of Cells.
Okay.
And so when you're going down, I don't even know all the reservation laws. So when you're on that highway, I believe it's Highway 86, you're actually already on the reservation, even though it's a public road. But if you go south or north on any road, it's considered trespassing, even though there's no trespassing signs. So we turn left on a road, and people are honking at us. Cop shows up. And so, in other words, we're kind of like, we're not trying to be a problem. We're just trying to document. So, like, it was kind of uncomfortable where it was time to go, and it was just like the best decision. Probably, it just wasn't comfortable. And
you were just
we're not there to die or get hurt. Yeah,
no.
We were just driving. But if it's if our job is to document and getting hurt is part of that, there's no point on doing it. I mean, what am I going to get out of that?
No, I get it.
That wasn't even cartel or the FBI yet. We're talking about just locals. I'm like, okay, I get it. In other words, they must have everything under control. But I will tell you this: I'm not a professional investigator, but that corridor right there, holy crap! That Highway 86. If you travel with anything in your car, whether it be drugs or people or guns, that's not the road to go.
Yeah.
Unless you've got clearance, because there was 9 million border patrol cops that passed us. Police, the reservation police. You have we had federal agents passing. Like, in other words, someone's controlling that road, and I'm pretty sure that's where a lot of stuff does go through.
So, but this is good intel, because does this tell you that they probably did not use that road? They would, if they went toward Mexico, it would have been I-10. Is that your feeling?
That is a good point. Yeah, I don't think they would have went down through a res. Yeah.
Okay. No. That's because I considered that.
Good point. Yeah, I don't think that would have been the route. But then again, I also think of the point is the Mexico thing is, why would you go to Mexico? Like, let's just say that she was alive and they took her to Mexico and they paid the Bitcoin, so they're going to take the chances of bringing her back across the border. I think she was passed away by then.
Yeah.
And why are you going to travel with dead body? That's my opinion personally.
If he had the mask on, if she sees him, he's not driving around with a mask on and a little old lady in the passenger seat. You know what I mean? That just does not compute. Right. So, there's your robot.
Compute.
You're funny.
But you're right.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And I don't think, of course, that's just me. I just don't think she's in Mexico. I just think they already had a pre-dug hole on private property somewhere.
So that's where we're going to end up tonight. What do you think happened to the beautiful Nancy Guthrie? What do you think? Or do you have an idea?
Yeah, I think it was a wrench attack.
You do?
I know that's kind of like the angle I'm at right now, only because everything fits. Mm-hmm. And people say, well, we don't know if Nancy owned any Bitcoin or any cryptocurrency. Well, wrench attacks have nothing to do with who owns it. It's who the person is. So
correct.
We don't know. And there was a lot of coincidences between that one and 3 of them in California, and the one that happened in Scottsdale on 131 the same night before. I mean, that's not that far from Tucson, and those were the only 2 There's only one wrench attack this year in Arizona, which is that Scottsdale one.
They didn't get any money either.
No, they got caught. And they also, the people who were in the house, they came from California. The person that the chef was on the phone doing all that.
Yeah. They found them on like Snapchat or WhatsApp or something. Those two kids, right?
No, they broke into the house and they asked for crypto. And then they said, we don't have crypto. And the guy on the phone told them, you have 66 million in crypto. So while they're doing all that, they didn't know that the son was in another room. He called the cops. So they escaped and got caught not too far away. So they didn't get very far at all. And they gave it up. They said a guy named Red and a guy named 8 set it up for them. And nowadays with wrench attacks, you could be AI everything on your phone, your email, your phone number. You could think you're talking to a man, it's a woman, so like that's like the new age of people robbing money for that. And I think there was a lot of crypto data breaches in 2025 and maybe 2024, but 2025 where I think that's where they're finding all these people. Like you can't get into their Bitcoin accounts, but you could see how much they have.
Mm-hmm.
What if Savannah and her husband, because we know they're into crypto, what if they found that they had a whole bunch of, but regardless, Savannah has that money anyway. That's why it said, hello, Savannah.
Yeah.
Like, hello, Clarice. It was Savannah, like it was, and so they messed up.
Do you think those two notes are by the same people?
100%.
Yeah.
And if it's same people, it's the same typer. It could be someone over his shoulder. Maybe, but the same typer. Yeah. Someone who's very good, IT intelligent, where they knew how web forms work. Because that's what it is. The tip lines are web forms. And if you know how to mask where you're putting on that web form, that's pretty smart stuff, and to have a Bitcoin address, who made that wallet? You'd think there was something they would have been able to trace something.
Well, that number, you're not gonna just pull that number out of the air. That was a real long Bitcoin number. So
right. And not only that, even on the sorry letter, it was there,
Mm-hmm.
So they were like, hey, we messed up, but hey, little, consolation money.
Oopsie.
Can we get half?
Do you know where
the sad part is they're still in control? Like they failed, they didn't get their money, but they're in control because I think it was Nico that said that chances are, I mean, of course, this is speculation, but that she's most likely buried very deep somewhere where that person has access to it or can see it, or like if he drove over there, he knew there'd be any kind of disturbance, kind of. So that person still has control. It made a lot of sense when he said it that way. Like he could drive by there, he would see something happening over, like they found,
Well, and he could be biding his time because there's a price attached to that information. He could make.
Do you think there was one, or do you think there was more than one? Because I think there was more than one.
I do too. Yeah, for sure.
I think that the guy there at the porch isn't the guy who sent the crypto either, the Bitcoin. So I think there's two different, in my opinion, just two different skill sets, kind of,
Absolutely. Do you know where A&T are?
I don't, but I did hear that the son is back in school. So
okay, and
that means something. But I heard they're not staying at home still.
I've heard from two sources reaching out to me that he's teaching, and I've gotten a redacted school schedule and somebody's comment. So I don't know how hard it would be to even just drive by and see if he's walking into the school. But I mean,
good point.
I don't know. I'm not telling anybody to go do that. Okay. Because next thing you know, Nanos is like, rah. But I mean, it's very possible that they are just staying somewhere else is what it sounds like.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't even know why they would still live in Tucson, only for the fact of what they've been through and how they didn't say anything and how so many people will never let go of that now. It's like John Ramsey in the John Benet Ramsey case, the father. Of course, outside looking in from the beginning, it could have been the parents. But when you look at the facts, you're like, yeah, even if they found the person, people will still to this day say, the parents did it,
Well, and just going back, so just to clarify, you say that you've heard that Olmo is in class again. So that would
Correct.
make sense that they're back. They're just somewhere
Good source
safe.
too. Yeah.
Okay, very good.
I don't know,
Okay.
but I didn't hear if he was working though. Does he work at that same school?
That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't know about that. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the schedule that was shared with me, all the dates are redacted. So I don't know if it's last year's schedule. So, and also there was somebody who commented on one of my videos. It said that their friend's son or something was in school and he's there. So, I hope he's back to work. And, I have been kind of thinking it could be associated with the family, but I don't want it to be the family. And I think it would be horrible. But wrench attack is, definitely still up there for sure.
And I looked at it as like if Tommaso and Annie, let's just say they did, you think Savannah would risk her freedom and her career and everything to stand up for him? And if we find out the truth later that it's not, and I think that the law enforcement would have arrested them already instead of letting them live their best lives for 7 months. But of course, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But I would like to say is I don't know if you saw the comparison between Santiago and Porch Guy, because in my opinion,
looks close.
It's the same person. It's the same person in my opinion.
Same height, same everything.
Same height, and the thing that got me was there was a couple things. The calmness of them walking through the store before they went and got shot, that cadet. It's the same calmness as the person that's on the porch.
You're right.
He's about to go into that house. And so Santiago, he killed someone when he was 12 years old. He did like 4 months in rehab. It was a friend of his that he actually lived with. And now he has 2 teardrops. And the thing that people don't know is that who would have a grudge against that a police officer? Well, he sued a police officer last year. Santiago did. And then the thing that really got me that in my head, he's Porch Guy. At the very beginning, I saw something right here.
And
I thought, I kept saying cleft palate, even though that's not what I meant. But I meant it was more like a scar.
Yeah.
And if you noticed it, he has that scar because it goes through his mustache and even above the mustache. And that, to me, that's Porch Guy. And when I see those eyes, that's the cold-blooded person that's on the porch. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll be the first one to say, hey, I was way off, but 5'10". He was out of jail on January 31st and February 1st. We confirm that.
No respect for life. None.
Right. That's the person that was on the porch right there. Whether she lived or not, they were there to take Nancy. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were there on a mission oriented, It's nuts.
Well, I appreciate your time so much. You are such a sweet person. You're very caring. And yeah, I would love to have you back and we can talk about John Bonet and Delphi. I mean, we can, because those are crazy, crazy cases. And thank you so much. I will follow up with you. I'll get the email for the I'll send you
those videos so that way you can have a couple other things too. So
and
I'll find that.
Do we need to the Attorney General or the DA for you?
It's no, not the Attorney General. It's county. They call them different in different states. Like here, it's county attorney.
Okay.
California, it's a district attorney.
Gotcha.
Here, they call it county attorney.
Okay.
So yeah, Laura Conover and Samantha Walker.
Okay, because they need to.
So you're awesome. Hope you have a blessed weekend, and
shout
out to everybody in the chat.
Thank you, everybody. Make sure you sub Alex. If you're not, you probably are. But thank you so much. Have a great weekend. We will talk to you later, everyone. Thanks so much, Alex.
No problem. Love you.
I love you too. Bye-bye.